Being on the front line of the business sector in the Virgin Islands, the DLCA continues to perform their duties for the residents of the Virgin Islands with hardships and labor shortages.
There certainly is an issue that I have, and it's government-wide, with respect to adequate human resources. There's a hiring freeze. Our fiscal situation, the government's fiscal situation, does not allow itself, does not afford as many hires as I would need for this department. Let me give you one example. I've got in St. Thomas 3 enforcement officers. Enforcement officers are peace officers who wear guns, who drive police cars. People have seen the DLCA police cars around the place. And I've got 4 in St. Croix. And they work from 8 to 5. Ideally, at a minimum, I'd like to have double in St. Thomas and double in St. Croix. Why? This department licenses all businesses. Some businesses operate in the day, but I've got a myriad of businesses that operate at night with a skeletal crew of enforcement officers. Not even being able to scratch the surface with regard to all those that operate at day. I'm not even getting to touch those that operate at night. If I had more officers, I could put them on shifts, and they'd be able to deal with the bars, and the restaurants, and all those other operations that operate at night. So that's just a microcosm of the human resource issues that we're faced with. Let me take it to another example. I've got 2 CPS, so Consumer Protection Service inspectors, and these are the people who go to the supermarkets, look at prices, looks at who have to, along with weights and measures inspectors, look at scales at gas stations, scales at supermarkets. I got 2 persons in St. Croix, 1 person in St. Thomas doing that type of stuff. Not to mention the myriad of people who come here to file consumer complaints. My point is, I've got a skeletal crew. When I started here, I had about 45, 46 people island, territory-wide. We're down to 40 now. My understanding is that before I came here, we had up to 100. At some point, this department had up to 150, 200 people. So I'm down to 40 people expected to do the same job in a business base that's expanded. And it can be very frustrating. Now, I know it can be very, very frustrating for consumers as well, but they got to understand it's, I'm kind of limited, I'm kind of handicapped as to how much we can produce. You can't make the same amount of Johnny cake with a small amount of dough, unless some Johnny cake will be smaller. And some people are not going to be happy with small Johnny cakes.